Hello future authors, current wannabes, and anyone who might be just feeling a little mentally constipated at the moment and is stuck with their writing. I'm Claire Blunt, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 reasons why you might not be able to write your story right now. 1. The pursuit of perfection. Writers who are perfectionists tend to excel at the research, editing, and most likely have spent hours creating one, if not multiple, languages for their books. People who are pursuing perfection with their novels are the kind of people who have rewritten the beginning of their novel multiple times. I'm not saying that we shouldn't strive to write an excellent book. Perfectionists who are writers know their characters down to the minute detail. I'm talking hair color, we're talking moles, brows, we're talking skin color, we're talking what kind of panties they wear on what day of the week. These people know their characters so well that they will struggle to get these characters onto the actual page. There's just simply too much. They will often suffer from writer's block, because they are unable to pick a place to start, and if they do, they then will restart multiple times because they are looking for perfection, and that simply is not ever going to be the case with the first draft. Now, there are pros to the perfectionist writer. If this person can get past being hung up on the tiny stuff, they are often excellent world builders who will write some of the richest characters that you will ever read. Number 2. Too many ideas. I'm not talking about character ideas, I am talking about any kind of idea. Writers are an easily distracted bunch. We stop writing to grab a snack, grab a coffee, start our laundry. We Google topics that only have the thinnest thread of connection to our actual stories, and then, of course, there's always that shiny new idea syndrome. Shiny new idea syndrome is basically what it sounds like. You're working on your lovely story, and one day you're less than taken with your current project, and then that's when inspiration hits for a completely different story idea. It's easy to fall into the trap of shiny new idea syndrome. As writers, we can't just turn off our imagination. I know I constantly have a stream of story ideas, characters and scenes just popping into my head, but instead of opening up a brand new Google Doc and diving into these appealing new stories, I use these new story ideas actually as motivation. I tell myself I can only attack this new idea after I have finished my current project. This isn't a hard and fast rule. I do have several different story ideas going on at the moment, but it is rare that I'll add a new story to the mix. And number 3, this is actually a pet peeve of mine, and it's telling people about your story way too early in the process. A good story is kind of like a secret, but the more you start telling people about it, the less of a secret it is. Writers who tell people about their stories shoot themselves in the foot. Not once, but twice. I guess you could say they're shooting themselves in both feet. I know, it's a bit far out, but let me explain. The first reason telling people about your story is a bad idea is because everyone has an opinion. I mean, you want to tell a story about a princess who marries a dwarf to save her kingdom, even though she doesn't love him? Well, they've got a better idea. Or they think your idea is stupid. No matter how well-meaning people are, they're never going to understand that writing a plot twist that we didn't come up with as the author is just not that appealing. And number 2, remember I talked about the shooting yourself in the foot and all that bit. Reason number 2 why it's bad to tell people about your story too early in the process is it kind of pops the balloon of inspiration. When I get an idea for a new story, I kind of imagine it like a balloon, that the characters, the story, the scene ideas are all air going into it, making it get bigger and bigger. And when we tell people about our story ideas, it kind of pops that balloon of inspiration. If you wait to let those story ideas come out until you actually have time to write this story, you're gonna have so much more momentum than if you had told people about it before you actually had a chance to write it. Reason number 4 is the fear of exposure. A lot of people get stuck and they can't write their story because writing is deeply personal. We writers basically take a piece of our soul and spread it across the pages of our story. And then, if that's not crazy enough, we give this to other people to read. Like, hey, yeah, check out my deepest fears and anxiety and my darkest thoughts. It's terrifying to put ourselves out there like that. When people read our work, they not only come away with a story, they come away with a picture of who the writer is, who created that story. Now, that is a very frightening thought. A story, once you release it into the world, takes on a life and often meanings separate from what you thought you breathed into it. As someone who likes to have a measure of control over my life and desires to be also liked, that's pretty petrifying. But you know what's even more terrifying? Not risking it at all. And number 5, you're not actually a writer. So, the 5th reason, and I hesitated to include this, but I think it's really true. The 5th reason you might be stuck from writing is you're not really a writer. This is those people, and if you use these, maybe just comment below and let me know, and maybe I'm totally out of line, but these are those people that use the apps to generate story ideas. If you need a story idea to be generated for you, I'm sorry, I just don't think you're a writer. If you don't have a story that is just itching at your bones trying to get out, you don't need to be writing. If you think you like the idea of writing just because, just stop. This isn't your calling, and that's okay. Not everyone has a jumble of characters and scenes galloping around in their head. Be grateful. You don't have to live with the guilt that comes every time you sit down to watch TV. There are easier ways to get famous in writing. Like, maybe give those a shot first. So those are my 5 reasons why you can't write. I think I have struggled with all of these reasons at one time or another, with the exception of probably the last one. Hit the subscribe button and comment below which is your writer's kryptonite.